Greetings, friends. Over the past few months, I played many games and only actually completed a very tiny amount of them. In the PC gaming market, where games are often on sale for cheap, if you're a patient gamer or subscribe to a service like Xbox Game Pass, not completing a few games doesn't mean I didn't like them. It's just there's so many games out there that it takes something really special to complete them. However, there have definitely been some disappointing games. Trigger warning, if you like one of these games and you think I'm missing out, just let me know in the comments below. Me not liking a game doesn't mean it's a bad game. Here are a few games that I will not be revisiting. First up is Torchlight 3. I expected nothing and I was still disappointed. Torchlight 3 offered some of the most bland characters I've seen from a game that wasn't a mobile port. There was a robot who looked kinda cool, but the other three human options didn't convey any sense of personality. The character I created boiled down to do some white magic spells, do some black magic spells, now do your top DPS spells, rinse and repeat. While there were lots of skills to pick from, too many of them boiled down to which skill would you like to increase by X%. The ability to respec was severely limited in the early game, which made it seem punishing if a less than optimal build was picked. Soulless and uninspiring is how I'd describe Torchlight 3. Tetris Effect. I've played Tetris on many different consoles over the years with many different variations on the gameplay. I loaded up Tetris Effect, connected and played the first level, which I thought would never end. Once I reached the end of the first level, I could move on to level 2, but I didn't. All I saw was just a Tetris. There was no new mechanics thrown in that I could remember. I know there's co-op and multiplayer, but I never had the urge to play Tetris multiplayer. Tetris Effect didn't impress me enough to keep playing. I know there's got to be more to the game, but it had 10 minutes and it just seemed like Tetris. Monster Sanctuary. This is an indie game's take on Pokemon. I had some fun with the game at first until near the end of the first level. By that time I had several pets who all had several possible tech trees to pick. Was I picking the most streamlined tech tree? Was I leveling a pet that wouldn't be good later? Like, was I leveling a fire pet but the next level was going to be water monsters? What if the game wants me to level up all these pets that it keeps throwing at me? Suddenly the game seemed less like a charming indie Pokemon clone and more like a min-max nightmare that would require me looking up game facts to find the best possible pet combinations. It's not a bad game at all, but for someone like me who enjoys min-maxing characters, it seemed like a lot more work than I wanted to do. Wastelands 3. I'm trying to remember what my favorite part of the early game was. Was it clicking on a campfire and watching my main character catch on fire and take damage so that I had to restore to a previous save, but then the previous save I had to re-listen to a bunch of dialogue because I didn't realize I was getting ready to do a battle with a campfire? Maybe it was spending what seemed like an eternity walking around the initial base because that seemed to be what the quest wanted, which was just as much fun as walking around town forever trying to find the right people to talk to. I spent more time walking around than I did doing the fun part of the game, which also was not as fun as I thought it would be because the game was throwing 5 or 6 new characters in my team with abilities that I didn't really know what they did, and they didn't really require that much strategic thinking. It was basically point and shoot. I liked my character, I liked his abilities, but the game just added too much at once. Had nobody on the design team heard of pacing? Because the story dragged out forever, while battles just ended up being a Katamari Damacy of new people on my team. God Trigger. Play as a devil or a saint in this top-down shooter? Sounds like fun. But this is exactly what the first 3 minutes of the game was like. Some of the button mappings that I mentioned may not be correct, but most of them are.
Move with the left analog stick, aim with the right analog stick, melee with the left trigger, go take down with Y if you sneak up on a character, press LB to bash down the door, press the left stick in to activate your special abilities, right thumbstick trigger to switch characters on the fly. Now you can press left bumper as one character to pass between windows, open a door on an enemy to stun them, move with the right bumper to move the map around, highlight enemies with the right stick while holding down the right bumper to take control of enemies. You can switch to another character. She can't fly between windows, but she can teleport around, she can take control of some people.
All I wanted to do was point at enemies and shoot and kill them, not get my master's degree in button mapping memorization. All of those controls were on the first level, and it was literally, here, do this control one time, alright good, hope you have it memorized, here's the next one. Division 2, Warlords of New York. I had played Division 2 when it first came out, and I squeezed all the single player goodness out of it that I could. When it went on sale last week with the expansion, I eagerly dove in with a pre-boosted character. The first few hours were exactly what I remember it being. Shoot, use your abilities, shoot, wait on your abilities to come off cooldown, and repeat. That's actually not too bad when leveling because the end game is where things take off. Unfortunately, the game just kept crashing over and over again. A check on the forums didn't yield anything helpful, and for $7, I'm not going to play Geek Squad to get my computer running. It's a shame. I really wanted to like the game and see what it was, but there was just too many difficulties. Lastly, and the biggest heartbreaker, is Hunie Pop 2 Double Date. I loved the first Hunie Pop game. Going from a loser to a top Chad while playing a match 3 game that you could level up in, it was a lot of fun. Hunie Pop 2 took away the story and doubled down on the match 3 and the debauchery. I'm not sure why the developer thought making the match 3 more difficult and punishing to play was what the fans wanted. Seriously, if you start doing too good in the match 3 gameplay, the girls, they won't like you and they'll start running out of turns faster, so you're getting punished for doing good. If you've never played the first game, yes, it is a weeb game, but it's got a fun plot and the girls' characters have a lot of personality. In the sex game, you just start off as this sex god and all the girls are ready to get it on after one date. They have no personality outside of just really liking sex. The magic balance of match 3 story and character development that was in the first game was just kind of tossed aside for the sequel. But I guess on the plus side, now you can date 2 girls at once.